Well, a lot of you are going to be happy today because I'm finally getting around to some of your requests. Hello everyone, Colin Cadet here for WoodWorkWeb. We've had many requests for people who have routers but don't have a router table but still want to use them on different pieces of wood around the workshop. And today, in 5 minutes, we're going to show you everything you need to know about using a router safely when it's not on a router table. Before we get started, I do want to talk about safety. It's an imperative that you wear good hearing. I always wear good eye protection, and it's probably the most important tool that you make sure that you are not plugged in. This is the bit we're going to install. There's the collet, and the router is upside down. So you put the router bit into the collet, then pull it back about the thickness of a coin or even a standard size washer. And the reason we do that is to allow for any expansion, because these bits can get pretty warm when they're cutting. Then you lock, in this case, that locks the arbor, and you just tighten. Most plunge routers will have a movable depth pin that moves up and down and locks, in this case with that bolt there. And at the bottom they will have a movable turret. There's the pin and there's the turret. Another mechanism that most plunge routers have is this locking lever, and what it allows you to do is to drop the router down, lock it, and then it stays in that position. And I'm going to use this locking lever to set my depth, and then I will go around to the front and with the turret and the locking pin and lock that off. So I'm going to move the router down to a depth that I want, which is right there, lock that, and now I can move around to the front, and with my pin I can set that, and now I know that that's the depth that I want to go, and lock that down. Now when I go back and release this lever, I know that when I start routing, when I go down to the bottom, that's the depth that I will be at. There is one other height adjustment that you probably already know about, and most routers have an adjustable knob on it somewhere where you can adjust the whole router up and down. I've chosen to use the stop pin on the turret, and the lock, the bit pops up and it's away from any of the cutting surfaces, so when you turn it off there's less chance of that bit touching something. When you're doing a edge like I'm doing right now, you always start with the edge grain first, because the edge grain, the bit is going to blow out that, there's going to be tear out there. I often get asked, how do I know what direction to push the router in when I'm doing freehand? And the answer is pretty simple. Every bit has a face and a back, and another face and another back. And in this case, we have the router sitting like this, and there's a face and there's another face. The face always wants to get pushed into the wood. Remember that. The face always wants to get pushed into the wood. And when you know the direction that the bit is traveling, in this case, this router had this arrow on it. I've just highlighted it. In fact, I've drawn another one freehand on the other side so that you can see that. And we always know that the face wants to get pushed into the wood, so that's going to tell us what direction the router wants to travel at. We've plugged the router in, I've set it up on an anti-skid mat, and I've also set some clamps to keep it securely. I'm going to push it down and run to the end of the board, then I'm going to stop and show you the detail of that tear out, and then we'll finish the other side. That's the kind of thing that you're looking for tear out, and we'll be able to fix that up when we continue on. And there's one of our corners, and you can see what a nice cut that makes there. There's no tear out at all. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we ask you to do that. We also ask you to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and next time we're going to be doing a 5-minute session on the router in the router table. So all that in just 5 minutes. I'm Colin Kinnett for WoodWorkWeb. Thanks for watching.